In today's video, we're looking at a 16-inch corded hedge trimmer. It's so old, it says Black and Decker, as opposed to now where it would say Black plus Decker. But now there's a new challenger on the block. It's the 40-volt Ryobi 26-inch cordless head trimmer. And thanks to the Home Depot Seeds program, we're going to be checking it out. Once out of the box, you'll find a debris deflector, a 2-amp 40-volt battery, a rapid charger for said battery, the tool itself, and a scabbard that's used to protect the blade from causing damage or being damaged when not in use. The debris shield just attaches over the top, and its purpose is to clear material. I don't use the shield. For me, it doesn't make much of a difference, but I hear from some people that it makes a difference when they're lightly cutting stuff, but when they're cutting into thicker material, this tends to just get in the way. So you decide. Either way, it's easy to attach or to remove. How does the Ryobi compare to my old Black and Decker? Well, that had a blade. This obviously has a much longer blade with the scabbard, which protects the blade when not in use or in storage, so that you don't cut yourself on the blade and the blade doesn't get damaged. This, of course, was just always exposed. You have a shield, just like the classic would, a handle, except the handle on this unit is also the safety trigger. So when you grab the handle, you enable the trigger to be pressed and the unit to operate. On the old corded unit, you had to push a button forward, then you could use the trigger. The Ryobi has a thick carrying handle, which allows you to carry it from the top or either side, just like the old classic, except this is a thinner, less beefy handle. Brushed motor, brushless 40-volt motor. This corded unit was powered by a plug on the back end, whereas this Ryobi takes a battery pack on the underside. But what's really cool about this unit is you can actually rotate the blade from 0 to 45 to 90 on either the right or left hand side. You simply squeeze this lever and turn the handle, and it locks in a detent. And now, as you hold the handle straight, your blade is cutting at a 45-degree angle. A bit easier than having to roll your wrist to achieve a 45 or 90-degree angle with the old-fashioned tool. The one downside, even without the 2-amp battery, this is a fairly heavy unit compared to the featherweight of this old-fashioned hedge trimmer. Before we can use the hedge trimmer, we have to plug in the charger, slide on the battery, and let it charge. You'll note that this Ryobi rapid charger has a cooling fan. Unlike the single-speed brushed motor, the Ryobi has a dual-speed motor for greater efficiency. The blade on the corded hedger provided 3/8 of an inch of cutting surface, whereas on the Ryobi, it's 3/4 of an inch, although the blades are spaced further apart. With the battery charged, the only thing left to do is to lube the blades on both of the trimmers. Then we'll proceed to do some cutting. Before cutting, we're going to check to see how loud they are. That's low speed. That was high speed. There's only one speed on this. Definitely a lot more vibration. Sound-wise, they're pretty close. Maybe the Ryobi has a slight edge on it, but definitely a lot more vibration on the older unit. We have some thick undergrowth. Let's see how the blades handle it. A little bit more of a struggle with this, but it still accomplished the task. The one advantage the old trimmer has over this one is it doesn't run out of juice. Of course, I could cut the cord, but which you can't do with this because of the battery. But at this point, I don't think I've been out here 30 minutes. We'll check the timestamp on the video, but it is out. While editing this review, I noticed that the battery still indicates that there's 1 or 2 LEDs lit even though the tools stop operating. So what I want to do is run another test in which there's no load on it. I've lubricated the blade, put on a fresh battery, and we're just going to let it run to see the maximum time that it'll run with no load. At about 22 minutes, the hedge trimmer stops and the battery is depleted. This was done at speed 1, which is the slower of the two. Obviously, going to speed 2 and doing this would give us an even shorter runtime. The battery pack took just under 52 minutes to fully recharge. Of course, you don't have to wait the full 52 minutes if you just need a few extra minutes to complete the task. Once you see that there's some charge on the battery, it can be removed and used. Overall, I'm pleased with the way it cuts. I've been running it on low speed most of the time, and it's been able to handle pretty much everything I've thrown at it, and what it can handle, it'll get on the second or third try. This doesn't vibrate nearly as much as the other one, so it's easier to use. Downside, of course, is the weight issue. With a 6 amp hour battery, it's really back heavy, but still manageable. While I was disappointed in the 2 amp runtime, putting a 6 amp definitely gets you going forever. Problem is, of course, you're just adding more weight to the unit, but it balanced out fairly good. I mean, it's not evenly balanced, but you're mostly going down and stuff, so it worked out. I love the fact that you can swivel the handle 90 degrees off center. That actually helps the cutting. One of the things that took a little getting used to is the lockout trigger, which is embedded in this handle. And if you're not holding on to that, the unit will power off. And of course, that's because they want you having 2 hands, one on the trigger, one on the trigger lockout, so that your hands are not getting there and you're not doing anything silly like, oh, let's say climbing a ladder and trying to use the hedge trimmer with just one hand. And while that's a great safety feature, the problem I had was that this was very sensitive. So even though I was holding on to it, if I loosened just a little bit as my arm moved around, the unit would tend to power off. So that was just a little bit of an annoyance. I understand why this is designed that way, but this lockout needs to be a little less sensitive than it currently is. Should you go out and get one of these? Well, it all depends. if you're coming from the corded electric trimmer, then of course you lose the cord, you gain some extra length, it's less vibration, though not any more quiet, but you do have to deal with the battery issue, which with the battery they include, I think it's too small, and it should have been at least a 4 amp. I happen to have a 6 amp around, and that's plenty of power to do my property, which is about almost an acre. Now, if you're coming from a gas-powered unit, the first thing you'll notice is that this is a lot quieter, a lot less vibration, and of course, you don't have to feed it fuel and oil. The included 2 amp hour battery will probably be an issue for you. Weight-wise, it's probably about the same because the motor is heavy on the back end of those units. Power-wise, this unit has 2 levels, which I found to be quite adequate for what I was doing even when I was cutting things I shouldn't have been cutting with this trimmer. The high speed handled it quite nicely. But power-wise, the unit is about equivalent to 2.5 amps of a corded unit and not much over that. So if you really need high power output, this probably isn't the unit for you. As for me, I'll be retiring the old corded electric unit and strictly going cordless with a bigger battery, of course. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you ever so much for watching.